Show. Always Show. Always Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm happy to be with you. We still got cold weather. I don't know what it'll be like next week for the Masters. If it's going to be a bad week, then it's another reason to sit there and watch golf for 80 hours a day. Although, here we go. I'm in a good mood. It's a Friday. I have kind of a fun topic I want to hear from the people on, and I'm going to get mad already. I'm going to say this now. I say it every year. Every shot played in the Masters should be televised on TV, not some app on your tablet that's delayed and you get this and that and one hole they show. Every shot of the Masters should be on TV. The first couple days, you get 2 hours of coverage. It's garbage. Anyways, I don't want to make it about that. We're not even in that week. It should all be televised on TV. I'm never coming off of that. It's the biggest golf tournament in the world. Everybody wants to see, and you get like an hour and a half of live coverage on Thursday and Friday. It's garbage. Anyways, not making it about that. Not making it about that. I see some interesting things in the chat. We have some callers already. And this is really interesting. So one of the topics today I want to go over, I don't know your answers, so I'm just going to throw it out there. If you want to address it, address it. You know my off-season thing, though. Go anywhere you want. I would like to know what has surprised you. What has surprised you about spring camp? That can be, I'm surprised to hear this player's flashing so much. I didn't expect that. It could be anything about that. It could be general themes that have come out of spring. They could be good or bad. I'm really genuinely interested to know what you're thinking about how this has gone so far. What has surprised you that you haven't expected to see or hear that you've been seeing and or hearing? Okay. JJ's jeans heading to the Cubs game tomorrow. Man, you're up there by that lake. And I used to live in that neck of the woods, man. There was a lot of snowy opening days on the north side when I lived up there, man. Really snowy. That's why you just go to Sluggers and have 80 beers and nothing bothers you. Like that's what you did when you were like 23. Oh man. Yeah, and you know what else I always wonder, you guys? I ask myself this. We have a couple callers. I'll get right to you when I get through the introduction. Here's the other thing I've never understood. You got these geniuses making all of this money setting up the Major League Baseball schedule. Are you telling me there is no way the schedule makers can schedule it so that in like April, when half the country's in horrible weather and you have all these cancellation games and everything, is there no way you could manipulate the schedule to put April games more in a warm weather climate or dome places and try and avoid playing baseball in winter? Like, is there no way they can work that with the schedule? I've always wondered that. There's got to be a better way. Or cut down the amount of games. Like, baseball is a little redundant. I don't think you need 162 to figure out who the best teams are to make the playoffs or whatever. And now half the teams make them anyways with the extended wild card and all that. Like, it's not enjoyable baseball. I think the players hate it, and it's not a good viewing product early either. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to get off track there. I've yelled about golf. I've yelled about baseball. Let's go ahead and yell about football, baby. Woo! Welcome to a Friday. I love it. Callers, hang with me. Let's do the introductions to get this going. And there's some chats, man. You guys are juicy with it. You guys don't play around, man. Every day I log in here, I'm like, what are these guys going to come up with? Bam, it's something juicy. Eric, what's going on? Good to see you here from the Ohio pod. Appreciate you. I also liked your segment, What's Bothering Boggs? Something like that. I like that, Eric. That's a very creative segment. I like where your mind's at. Oh, boy. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way. You're alerted every time a new episode drops. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, for goodness sakes, I don't blame you. The call-in lines. 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Irish Wire. Read all about it, folks. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former captain, leading tackler Michael Goolsby, and myself breaking it all down. Oh, we're putting together plans for next year. Oh, it's going to be good. As always, please support our friends over at ndsubwayalumni.com. Wonderful guys. Gotten to know them personally. They're becoming friends of mine. Love Notre Dame. Their specific allegiance to the Subway fan base warms my heart. And like I always told you, there's nobody I'm going to advertise for or allow to be a part of my program that I have not personally built a relationship with that I trust. I would not do that to you guys. I respect and love you too much. I would never do that. Okay? Oh, boy. All right. Let's do a couple of super chats. And one of them triggered a little discussion that I don't want to have a stroke on a Friday. You guys, come on, it's a Friday. We're supposed to be feeling good. And the weekend's coming and loosen up and everything. Quit trying to get me all cranked up on a Friday morning. All right, let's do it. I'm going to get through Eric says, oh, this is beautiful. Eric, I don't want to take this for granted. This is a beautiful thing here. Callers, I promise I'm going right to you after the super chats. We'll give it. I got to be better about getting to the callers. But this is what happens. I want to get to the callers and the topic of the day or whatever. Then there's some chats that takes us off my original plan trail. And then before you know it, I get home for Florida for 3 weeks and I haven't even told my Florida stories yet. That's how this happens. I'm having trouble prioritizing, you guys. All right, I've heard you talk about this several times. Since I'm not a domer, I have no idea what the Subway thing is you keep talking about. So, Eric, beautifully fair question, and I appreciate you being here, even though you're loyal to another team. That means the world to me. And just so you guys know, Eric and I, we got a little business cooking. So we're cooking up some things here. So stay tuned for that. But we got things cooking here. Our wheels are always spinning, okay? And I think you guys are going to like it. So the Subway alumni are referred to all of the loyal Notre Dame fans that live and die with Notre Dame that didn't go to school there. So they're like the other side than the law school alums or whatever. That's how I think about it, Eric. All the die-hard Notre Dame fans that would lay in front of a train and let it go over them if it means Notre Dame win, but they didn't go to school there. And the heritage and the religion is kind of the framework that makes them under the Notre Dame family roof, many of them without even stepping on campus. Some of the most loyal, diehard Notre Dame people have never even been in South Bend. So that's what that is referring to, is all the people that love Notre Dame and would never have never gone there. And there's a lot of us. Man, there's a lot of us. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, but if you think about it really is a beautiful thing because it's that value set, what it represents for like those Irish Catholic values, the fighting Irish, what though the like fighting your way up in America. It's all of those values that Notre Dame represents. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a lot of people don't respect that, Eric. A lot of people are like, if you didn't go to school somewhere, you can't root for them. Like, dude, with Notre Dame, that never works. This is not just about book learning. This is about life. You got me? It ain't about book learning. It's about life and those values and what that 16-foot golden lady on the dome represents to all of us and our families. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. No, Eric, this is not something I came up with. This has been a known thing for my whole life, a lot longer than that. Like, this has been a term around since I was a little kid. This has been a known segment, a known thing. It might have even come up. I Rockney's too early, but I wonder where the phrase was first coined. But my whole life, this has been a known phrase that I've known of. So at least 40 years, I'm aware of that. Maybe somebody older than me would know. What in the world? I don't know who did this. I don't know who did this. I think you're offending both of us. I do. I think you're offending both of us. I think Jack would be offended by this, and I think I'm offended by this. He doesn't want to be tied to me, and I don't want to be tied to him. You even got the little still frame of me sitting there. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that is great. I don't know who you are, but it's hilarious. $2 holler with it. You... Next thing you know, am I going to start acting like him too? Which means every time I make a mistake, I ask you for more money. Is that what we're going to do? It's a great deal if you can get it, where you're in a position where if you mess something up at your job, you get to ask everybody else to give you more money, and that makes it better somehow. I'm telling you. The creativity that goes sometimes into this show and trolling me is one of the key features of this program. I really love it. Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. Getting $2 to be trolled and have a good laugh must be awesome. It really is. Like, I don't even care if it's making fun of me. That's funny. I wish there was a picture where I look dumber, like with a sillier face or doing something stupid. Oh my gosh, that is really funny. All right, let's do some super chats and then I'll give it to the callers. I see there's a few of you. You'll be on the first bank coming up. Here we go. My lawyer from Michigan. He's stuck up there around all those Michigan people. As a lawyer, surrounded by a bunch of Michigan people, let's just say I'm sure Eric isn't hurting for clients who need that kind of representation. All right. It wouldn't surprise me at all knowing these Michigan people, they're felonious in their existence and the way they operate their lives. I find to be felonious. Okay. Flouting the law and the rules of football at every given turn. $20 holler from the lawyer. I agree with Tim. This is referring to our call Wednesday between Tim and I, where he asked if the Florida sun melted my brains. Which is that's a fair question to ask. Next season, if ND does not win a title, it's a failure. When we ask what is a successful season, this kind of talk translates into moral victory talk. Very interesting. $10 from the lawyer again. If Michigan can win a title, then most certainly ND can. How in the world did Michigan do this? Combination of a lot of stuff. number one, that team grew together for a long time. If we're being honest, and I'm putting all my hatred for them aside, that team grew up for a long time together. That was a NFL roster, like NFL draft soon roster this year with a lot of guys. What did they have? 18 guys or something at the combine? Some ridiculous amount. So you had a veteran-laden, heavy team that's been together for multiple years. That helped. So there was a lot of development there. Michigan's done a good job there. I admit that. The schedule lightening up to where it was a total joke definitely helped. No one's going to convince me knowing the other team's plays doesn't help. So they add that. If not for all this year, the other years they were building this team up, knowing what the other team's going to run is a good advantage, I would say. And then let's be honest. Goolsby's been on me about this, and I'm happy to admit it. I can admit it. That team had a culture that you would be jealous of. You could question how the culture developed. You could question all that momentum and the vibe and everything they had, and the confidence and the swag. You could question the legitimacy of the start of all that, and I do, the genesis of it, because I think it's tainted how they began to gain this momentum. But you got to admit, they created a us against the world, and it literally turned into them against the world mentality, and they were all in the bunker fighting for each other. It all came together. It just all came together. Before last season, that all played out in my mind. It all played out in my mind, and I was telling people, Michigan, this is the year. Like, this is the year before the playoff expands, and you got to play more teams to win a title and all that. With the easy schedule they have and all the upperclassmen and everything, I knew this was going to be the one you gotta watch for. And sure enough, they ran it. It all timed up right. The easy schedule, the upperclassmen guys, Ohio State kind of being a little down, the playoff not expanding to where you just got to win a couple games. It all lined up. It all lined up. Okay. So Mikey Poles is going to react to Eric, and then we'll go over to the calls. Okay. So Eric, the lawyer, says, I agree with Tim. Next season, if Notre Dame doesn't win a title, it's failure. When we ask a successful season, this kind of talk translates into moral victory talk. So then here's what Mikey says back. It's strange to me that the haters and the trolls, sadly of which there are many, want to fire Freeman for one loss, but we're totally okay with Big Game Brian at the helm for life. Make it make sense. Now, Mikey, Eric's not a troller. I think he means this. There's certain accounts that if this comes from, I know the angle and they're going out of their way to troll me. Eric's genuine about this. He's not trolling. I do believe him. Mikey, this is one of the bigger problems I have philosophically with this fan base presently. I have a huge issue with the inconsistency with which the standards are held up in Notre Dame with the fans. Brian Kelly went 4-8 in his 7th year at Notre Dame. And when I created this show in response to that, in the middle of 2016, I created this show because I could not handle all of the media carrying Kelly's water and not acknowledging how horrible of a spot we were in, why we got there, who was responsible of it. Everybody was carrying the water, making excuses. That in the middle of that 4-8 is when I started this channel and why I started it, because nobody was telling the truth. And if they were sugarcoating it so much that the message wasn't hitting. And I couldn't handle it anymore. So then I came and created this show and started letting it rip on Kelly. And I was told I was a lunatic. I was told, accept it. It's the best since Lou. I was told, you're not going to find better than this. I was told, give him a chance to reboot and rebuild everything. You owe him that. Why do I owe a Notre Dame coach in year 7 goes 4-8? Do you know how many things you have to be horrible at as a head coach to go 4-8 after 7 years at a school? Do you really, have you ever thought that through in your brain? How many things you got to be horrible at to put yourself in a position with the schedule we had to go 4-8 and lose to Duke at home? But no, John, you need to be more grateful for Brian Kelly. I kept hearing that. He's the best we've had since Lou. You could be the best we've had since Lou and still not be near good enough. I fought this battle every day, and I took crap from other YouTube Notre Dame people and everything saying, John's ungrateful. Just be happy with Kelly. He's the best you could get. Who else is going to come here better than Kelly? Acting like he was a martyr. Acting like all that money he got from Notre Dame, he was a martyr up there. Just, I guess I'll coach at poor Notre Dame and everything. I have a problem with this. If you want to have high championship standards for Notre Dame, I'm with you. Make them consistent, though. Make them consistent. I will never, ever understand the loyalty Brian Kelly gained from a large part of this fan base. I will never understand it in a million years. I will never, ever understand it or accept it. It's one thing to not recruit elitely and not win elitely. He also talked down to you every chance he got. He talked down to you every chance he got. And people accepted it. I will never, ever be able to wrap my mind around it. If Brian Kelly went 4-8 and was not recruiting elitely and golfing instead of recruiting and all that, but he polished it all up nice. And he kissed your Notre Dame fan Heine. And he was nice to you. And he played up to the crowd. Then I can understand the weak-minded sheep in this fan base buying into it, because at least the guy was telling you nice things. He never even did that. You guys. So I will forever be completely confused of why so many Notre Dame people blindly bought into a guy that did not get elite results, did not work as hard as you need to work to get elite results, and then talked down to you and told you you were pretty much dumb anytime you asked a question or wondered what was going on. It is one of the biggest Notre Dame mysteries in my life, the loyalty that guy got, winning nothing and treating everybody like crap. Now Freeman's in here, the nicest guy in the world who's working his butt off. And if he's not perfect, run him out of town. I can't understand it. Tell me what changed. Why do you have such a high standard now? And you didn't for Kelly. Again, if he treated you right, kissed your butt, built up the fans, was a nice guy, but not getting great results, I understand the weak-minded people will still like that. You didn't even get that. He got up there and didn't like the media asking any questions, told the fans don't know what they're talking about. We're shopping down a different aisle. 10-2 is good. I wish we would get credit from our people instead of them asking why we're not undefeated. Bro, I'll never understand it. The guy wasn't even nice. Not elite, not a hard worker, not nice. And people bought in. I'll never understand it. In a million years. John, you should be exiled out of the fan base. You are not being respectful of Kelly, and you need to bow down at the altar of Kelly, and it's the best since Lou. 4-8's fine. He'll get it right. You don't get to go 4-8 your 7th year at Notre Dame. That is a red flag across the board. That means you're failing at everything. When you go 4-8 in your 7th year, it means the program you built is garbage. It means you messed it all up. It means you don't have talent. It means you don't have coaching. It means you don't have a vision. It means the program's falling apart in the middle of your tenure at Craters. But when I ask why this is okay, John, you're being unappreciative. I don't think you should be able to go to Notre Dame games because you don't appreciate all Brian Kelly's done for you. Okay. All right. Make it make sense. So if we want to have elite standards, I'm with you. but I'm asking for them to be consistent. I'm asking for them to be consistent. I have no problem with high standards. I need them across the board, though. I can't understand it. And also, here's the other thing with this. The other thing with this is I agree practically as just on the surface level. If you don't win a championship, it's a failed year. Doesn't every school is like that, right? If it's not a championship, it's a failed year. I don't need to say that. That's built in. But life is lived in the nuance. You can't have one team that wins the championship and everybody else, it's just you failed. And that's it. And it's the end of the discussion. You failed. Then there's nothing for me to write about. There's no shows for me to do. It's just every failure is the same. If you're looking at it this way, then every failure is the same. 11-1 is the same as 6-6. Like, you gotta acknowledge if we don't win a title, it's automatically the years of failure overall. But then we gotta dig in the nuance. There are different levels to this. How far are you away from where you want to be from where we're at? How many losses do you have and why? Are you trending in the right direction? I totally agree. Any year we don't win a title, it's a failure. But my point is that doesn't just end the discussion right there. You have to look at those margins. You have to look at where your arrows are pointing, up or down or neutral for the program, for recruiting, for development. What does your staff look like? How good are they? Like, all of that stuff goes into it. And so I agree with you. Any year we don't win is a failure. But you got to be willing to investigate the margins when you fall short, because those are not all built the same. The unequal standard between what Kelly got away with and Freeman is astounding. It literally blows my mind, the double standard here. It's mind-numbing what Kelly got away with, how he treated people and acted in the product he delivered. And he got away with it forever. And Marcus Freeman, you lose one game, where you're out of here. You don't know what you're doing. What? The same people saying that let Brian Kelly go 4-8 and yelled at me for wanting him gone. And it wasn't 4-8 in year one. It was 4-8 in year 7. No, John. He's done great things. Best since Lou. Who else are you going to get? Just accept it. Let him talk down to you. Okay. But now this guy's got to be perfect instantly. I just want to know what changed. What changed? Now, maybe your answer is, John, you did such a good job making everybody in this fan base realize Kelly was a politician up there lying to your face for all those years, and you can't believe a word he said. And now we all get it. Like, maybe you want to tell me I gave you an awakening. And then you realize the standard does need to be higher. Okay, I'll take that credit. But there is a night and day way this fan base is looking at Freeman compared to Kelly, and I don't get it. You got to tell me what changed. Phil. OBK thinks he's a real stud on a jet ski. I got to tell you guys, did you see this on Twitter? Did you see this on Twitter yesterday? Brian Kelly on a jet ski at LSU. And you know what else is funny? And listen, only Brian Kelly could find a way to make jet skiing look lame. Only Brian Kelly could look awkward on a jet ski. Everybody looks cool on a jet ski. Here's Brian Kelly. Only Brian Kelly could make jet skiing look not fun and cool. But there he was. And the other funny thing is, they built this whole practice day fun thing around, who is it? Travis Scott, the rapper, was in town or something, and that's what they were doing, and that was fun or whatever. And Brian Kelly's trying to be cool, wearing the baggy sweater they brought him or whatever, and the cool shoes or whatever. There's 0% chance Brian Kelly has any idea who these rappers are. That is the real funny part of all this. Him being BK homeboy, wearing the baggy sweater and all the crap they were doing yesterday or whatever. 0% chance that guy has any idea who these rappers are. And one of the PR people has to pull him aside and go, we're going to have some visitors today, and they're from the hip hop community. And here are their names. Act cool for a couple hours. That's the funniest part. You think Brian Kelly knows who these rappers are when they come to town? The PR people pull them aside and go, okay, we're going to have these people here, and here's their names. Here's what they go by. Act cool. Because there's no way that guy knows who these people are. Oh, my God, that's funny to me. Oh, it's funny. Here's the chief. Just rewatch Freeman's interview on the McAfee show. Man, I love how he speaks. He works so hard, loves Notre Dame, man. It almost lets me forgive those embarrassing losses. Totally understand your sarcasm and frustration. I guess my answer back would be Brian Kelly had many embarrassing losses, and you didn't love how he speaks. And everybody was fine with it for like 20 years. Felt like 20 years to me. Felt like 20 to my hair follicles. So I get it. Be sarcastic. Do all that you want. And I got to ask, where were all you loudmouths when Kelly was failing? You were supporting him. You were propping him up. I got the receipts from Twitter. I got the receipts from YouTube. Some of the same people on YouTube that were coming to me saying that I need to get over myself and appreciate Brian Kelly in the middle of 4-8. Those same people, it makes no sense. So, okay, I guess if you're going to have embarrassing losses with the other guy or embarrassing losses with this guy, I'll take the one that's working harder and treats people the right way. How's that for an answer? It's always a battle here, you guys. It's always a battle. I'm all about high standards. You got to be consistent or you lose all your credibility. The messages I received, John Kennedy Swarbrick. Look at Steven, $5 hour. One day closer to Texas A&M, and damn it, I just want to keep the lines up and running. I appreciate you, Steven. I appreciate you. I don't know. I just it really just blows my mind, the differences here. Look at this. We'll do this and I'm going to the calls. We got a bunch now. So based on the Patreon this morning, I think you and Goolsby want to have an ND gunslinger at QB. Thoughts? Yes. Notre Dame needs something different. Notre Dame needs something different. And I would like an exciting quarterback wheeling and dealing that can make plays on the fly and do all that. I'm ready to try that. We haven't had, we haven't had that for so long. I'm ready to try that. I am. Oh, man. What are you guys arguing about? What are you arguing about? Oh, I see. And I hope that's not it, but I admit it's crossed my mind before because sometimes there's just no consistency. 703, you're talking to me. 618, another 703 coming up. 574 coming up. 703, good morning. What's going on?
Is this me, John?
Yep, you're up.
Oh, hey, John. How you doing? My favorite John.
I'm
the guy you seen me a couple times up there.
Yeah, we met. What did we do? Buffalo Wild Wings USC game a bunch of years ago? Am I dreaming?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, I thought so.
With your friend Craig.
There you go. Yeah, man, that's been a handful of years already. I can't believe it. Hey, what's on your mind, man? Yeah, what do you think of spring ball? What's going on, man? We haven't touched base. It's been a while here. Early January looks like. What's new?
Yeah, man, I'm excited about the spring game. Of course, I'm disappointed about our two major injuries that we've had. With Leonard, which I don't know if that's a shock or not. And I'm worse than being hurt, but I think he should be okay because that's as far as they stop it. So he should be fine. I'm not a doctor, but I think he should. Hopefully, he'll be fine. And Leonard, I don't know. I wasn't too hip about bringing him in after last year with Sam. I'm ready to move on kind of on our own guys. But if they think he's the guy, he will be the starter if he's healthy. So
yeah, I do agree with you. I'm starting to I feel that the fan base is ready for Notre Dame to find an in-house guy that you recruited from high school, grow with them, build with them, know there's a ceiling, and in a couple years you're building something big. I feel like I'm ready for that, but it's got to be the right guy at the right time that you could trust with that ship. And hopefully after this year, we'll get there.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think good thing that's coming out of it. I think the other guys get a lot more reps now. That's Kenny and or Steve and Carr. And from every podcast that I listen to, I'm sorry for cheating on you. I just like listening to everything. But it sounds like everybody says Carr really looks good. And that's promising for the future. I know it's not this year, but maybe a year.
Hey, man, listen, when's the last time you entered a Notre Dame spring and you had genuine high-end intrigue in all four quarterbacks that are involved? I don't ever remember doing it, and I'm going to be 40 in a few months. Like, I genuinely have intrigue and see upside in all four of these guys. It's really, it's a joy to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing about people don't give Marcus credit for. I know, like you said, he is held to a different standard. We have been disappointed in a couple of games. You know, we can go to Oklahoma State, Stanford, Marshall, the Ohio State game, and one of the games like Clemson last year. But Kelly left us. We had no receivers when Kelly left. The quarterback room wasn't that good. The cornerback room wasn't that good. And you can see the difference that Marcus has done recruiting these other positions. We're in the run for another top quarterback for 26.
Yep.
As long as Deuce stays in 25. People just don't realize you see what's going. Unfortunately, we're missing on the Viper position. It looks like we're not going to get the guy from Indiana now. That's disheartening. It looks like Ohio State's probably going to get him. We lost Scott last year for the middle. And of course, we lost Keeley the year before that. We need to get that done. But to me, that's my biggest concern is we're not getting enough high quality difference makers on the D line. We're missing one or two there.
Yeah,
we're not going to get to like 5 or 6 like all these other teams. Just give me one good one every year.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And a lot of people brought up that position group as a worry with recruiting and where we're at, and it's kind of hit or miss. Yeah, I think that's a totally fair concern. For this year on the field, I really think that defense should be really good again, man. I think you have a blend of upperclassmen you can rely on and some young, athletic, longer, faster youth. I think that defense should be really, really good. And I'll be really disappointed if they're not. I expect big things out of that defense.
Yeah, especially our defensive tackles. I'm surprised both of those guys came back. And, Mills really came on at the end of the year. I just hope he can start off quick. So it seems like he's always slow at the beginning for some reason. And Cross is always really good. And hopefully we'll get the other guys coming behind him because everybody keeps talking about how good Heinrich is doing now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How good those guys are. They're always the lowest ranked guy we get. And unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen with Tyson Ford. Because he was like the first big recruit Marcus got on the defense and looks like he's I don't know. I don't know if they moved him around to too many positions, inside, outside, and back outside at the end of the year. Now I hear back inside maybe again. I don't know. And hopefully the offensive line. I know everybody.
Little anxiety there, man. Both tackles. I don't know. I have a little anxiety.
Tackles, obviously. Now, Coogan, to me, was the weakest link out of the 5. And it seems like he's settled in, and that's who they want to go with. And Baker, of course, we're going to have questions about Baker because he's been here for 50 years, and he played well in the bowl game. But still, we don't know. And Milo doesn't seem like he's up to 290, I guess. Does 290 get to 300? It seems like he's very athletic. He can probably play the right tackle. I wish they gave a little bit more competition in the left guard because it looks like Billy's got the right guard down now, and Craig solidified the center. We got a bigger, stronger guy there than what we had last year.
Let me ask you this.
Play hard.
Let me ask you this. and I've been playing with this in my mind the last couple weeks, especially since spring's really getting going. How big of an impact do you think getting Mike Denbrock's eyes on the plan for this offense, how big of a difference do you think that's going to make next year? Having a guy with all that experience at eye level that knows what he's looking at, it's got to make a big difference. I just don't know what to expect. Like, do you really expect that offense to look and feel tangibly different in a big way?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. I want to tell you what's funny. Last year, I watched Notre Dame play Purdue in that, the game they played in Indianapolis, the Shamrock Series game.
Yep.
Last year, during the offseason, I remember calling my oldest son. I go, "Damn, that offense was a lot more fun than what we're running now." Because we had 3 wide receivers, we're spreading the ball around and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be better because one, he's going to get the ball to our playmakers. The thing that's killed me for years is when we had Lindsey. We had Tyree. We never got the guys the ball in space.
Yeah.
Now it seems like we're going to get the running backs in space, which I don't know why. There's such a big mismatch. Make a linebacker cover these guys. Then they're going to make a safety cover them. That means the receivers should have one-on-one behind the safety. I just think he's going to get the ball out quick to those guys. Who's going to cover these guys? That's my whole thing. He's like, why don't we ever do that? I see all these other teams getting all these playmakers in space. We never seem to do it.
Yep. Matt, creating those matchups and those mismatches and planning to set them up is a specialty of Mike Denbrock. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that scheming to get our guys the ball in space. I think that's the impetus behind Love catching passes now and doing a lot of that. Like they realize he's a flash player and they're finding as many ways possible to get him the ball. It's exciting. It's exciting, man. How important
and it's like you remember in the bowl game when Love caught the ball in traffic, he juked like 3 guys, ran for like a 15-yard, 12-yard touchdown. Yeah. And a little dump off from Steve. Why not do that 3 or 4 times a game?
You don't have to overthink it. Give your great athletes chances to make plays and good things are going to happen. So I'm with you. I think Parker was drowning most of the year. Good guy, not it. Like I feel for him because he was struggling. But we needed to really kind of get going. So anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base.
Well, I just to let you know, we are definitely going to the Louisville game. We already got our place to stay at, so we're looking forward to that. Hopefully that's a night game and a beatdown from last year.
I'm sure it'll be a night game, and at least it won't be the Super Bowl at their place again. That's a bonus.
And my son and his wife right now are going to go to the A&M game. I'm seeing if I can go to it.
Ooh, baby. That's gonna be something to behold. Be aware of that Texas A&M cult. The male cheerleaders in the white overalls. Don't turn your back on them.
Well, I'm not going to assume anyone's gender nowadays because
we don't want to do that.
I'm looking forward to going down there because I like going to road games. I've been to Virginia and other places where they played. It's always fun to be at other people's stadiums when you walk out of winter. But I'm hoping I can get down there.
Man, that's going to be a big
great time to win a game.
Oh man,
an SEC country and
it's going to be a big one. It's going to set the tone for the whole day. Hey man, thanks for touching base. I appreciate you very much, and we'll meet up again soon, man. It's been a long time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and I'll thank you. Last thing I promise. Thank you for putting your podcast on. I can listen to them now because you remember you weren't doing that as much.
Yeah. I've tried to.
It's a big difference in my day.
Okay, gotcha. I was wondering, how many people would listen if I dubbed over the live streams into digital only for people driving and delivery and mail and all the people on the run. I'm glad I did that and people like it. I'll keep doing it. Thank you.
No, I really appreciate it. You make my day shorter now, and gives me good enjoyment, and yet you have great callers and everybody. And I like when you do Goals to Be. I love when you do stuff with him.
Thank you.
Because he has no filter.
Yeah, I know. That's the best
part. I'll
let
you go. Let other callers come in, but thank you. Have a blessed weekend, and thank you for taking my call.
Oh, thank you, man. What a polite guy. Jeez, yeah, I met with him and his son. One of the USC games at home. I don't know what it was, and we ended up at Buffalo Wild Wings or something, drinking some beers in a back room. That's what I remember. Josh Miller with the $20 holler. My surprise for spring is that the talk is about how great the wide receivers look and they want us to trust them this time. No. I don't know how else to say it. I ain't doing it. Like, bro, no. Josh, I love you. The $20 holler, you're cranking up the phone lines, and I love you. But I'm not listening to this. My surprise for the spring is that all the talk is about how great the wide receivers look, and they want us to trust them this time. Can't do it. Can't do it. Cue the Singletary. Can't do it. I can't do it. Been burned too many times, got suckered in too many times, believed in something I saw in spring too many times, believed in the hype too many times, believed in the narrative other podcasters wanted to push about a guy because they're friends with his dad. I've heard it all. I'll believe it when I see this unit play winning football at a high level consistently week in and week out. That's when I'll believe in the wide receiver situation. Because it's been so bad for so long. Believe it when I see it is the fairest way I know how to operate this. I'm absolutely not blindly buying in only to be punched in the sack again. Anyways. Sorry, it had to come out. It had to come out. Look at Dr. John. He's so clever with his little things. What has God got against ND? Another guy, Clarence Lewis, prays for guidance and leaves. I'm worried. It is always, they're like, I'm going to pray about it. And then, like, if you put that in front of it, it softens the blow of leaving or doing whatever you want to do. Somebody should pray on it, and God told him to stay at Notre Dame and be better at football. How come God never delivers that one? Oh, boy. Gosh, that's funny. We need to create an Always Irish summer meetup. The problem is, where do you do it? That's the issue. Where do you do it? Dude, why are you guys arguing like this? I'm like not totally paying attention to the back and forth. Don't come to my tailgate and have a problem. Why would you do that? I want everybody to have fun. Oh, you guys will have fun. What's more likely consistent, the wide receiver room or the Sox winning? The wide receiver room. I don't. Man, I knew. Listen. For a summer meetup, where do you do it? That's what I always have the problem with this summer meetup, because a lot of people are in the Chicago area where I'm at. I don't like doing stuff in Chicago because a lot of people don't want to drive into the city, don't want to park in the city at a bar or whatever. Like, everything's inconvenient in Chicago, so nobody wants to be in Chicago. If you go to the suburbs, it's only convenient for a certain percentage of people. If I do it all the way in South Bend, I could do that. Maybe that's a good place. Or somewhere in between. How about Cotter's Lake House? It's actually one of the better ideas I've seen on here in a long time. And that lake house is like off the toll road, but kind of in between Chicago and South Bend. That's a pretty convenient location. We could party a little bit in Florida if you want, but that's going to be inconvenient. Dr. John, I love driving in Chicago. Boy, if you really think that, I challenge you to do it a little more or go to some different places. I hate driving in that city. As long as there are jet skis. Yeah, we'll make sure. Dude, we're going to go to Cotter's cabin in Indiana, and here comes Kelly on a jet ski. Woo! What are you boys doing? You want to come over to a picnic with me and my family? Hop on in. Unbelievable. Cotter's Lake House is near a nice golf course. Maybe that's a good answer. Wall, Pat's not here. He's traveling for work. Let's go ahead and book his family stuff for our fun. I like it. I like that. Can everybody get along now? I didn't mean to stir up any of this animus just by bringing up the difference in standards I've seen between our coaches. Okay. We'll do another call, then we'll do the Florida stories. I promise. I absolutely promise. 618, what's going on, man? What's on your mind this week?
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm doing very well, my friend. Got a lot of energy here on a Friday morning. People going at it in the chat. What is on your mind?
Yeah, man. I want, man, somebody needs to save Riley Leonard from himself, man. And, he's out there with a brace, with this big old brace on, man. And, man, this kid, I understand, but, man, it's starting to really feel like it really is a quarterback competition.
Man, dude, it's weird you bring that up because on my notes I wrote, what is your reaction to seeing Riley Leonard back out there so quick, but still like not fully functional, but out there throwing and dragging that leg around? What does that tell you about where we're at? Does that I don't know what to make of that, or I'm just a little surprised I see him out there doing what he's doing and I'm not quite sure what it tells me. What do you think?
It's almost like it tells us, like, man, they didn't promise him the starting spot. They didn't promise him that he would be the starter.
So you think he's feeling the pressure to have to get back out there and compete and stay in the mix? Is that kind of where you're going?
Yes, especially like with other resources saying that, like, Minchie looking good. What's his name? Angeli is looking good. I mean, I'm thinking that he's feeling the pressure. Like, man, dude, if I stay out to fall camp, it's a possibility I can lose the spot.
Yeah. Man. But the other thing is, he must have full clearance. Like, Riley Leonard can't just go, oh, I feel like I need to compete so I don't lose my spot in the pecking order. I'm going to go out there and drag my leg around. Like, it must be okay enough that they're comfortable with him doing what he's doing. But I do admit I was surprised by that a little. I really was surprised by it. I was like, wow, I just didn't think I thought they would be much more cautious with it. And so I don't know if that gives you like a sense of urgency, like if that projects a sense of urgency with all this or what, but the doctors must said it was okay. So I don't know.
It's only two things I could see is that either they didn't promise him the starting spot, or he want to get, he know that he's going to be the starter and he needs to get acclimated with his new receivers.
Right.
And start getting the time in that.
Right. So yeah, dude, that really did surprise me. And then, so I'll ask you this, he's going to be limited the rest of the way. You're going to see a lot of Angeli and all that. I kind of just think they made the plan. They want to be clear, and it's Riley Leonard, if healthy, the starter. If everybody's healthy entering August camp, do you see Riley Leonard taking the number 1 snaps in August starting out?
Yes. Yes.
So you think this doesn't, while this is inconvenient because there's none of this team development and all this stuff and rhythm being built and all that, if he's healthy, he'll start the number 1. I'm starting to lean that way too. I wasn't sure about it the last week and a half. Now I'm starting to think if he's healthy, they're gonna run him out there in August, no matter what Steve looks like the rest of the way in spring or not. I just think that's what's gonna happen. You could debate whether that's fair or right or wrong, or you like it or not. I'm just telling you, I think that's what it's gonna end up being.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being Riley Leonard. He's gonna be the starter. But man, it's kind of crazy because he just rushed out there so fast to get back out there.
Yeah.
I mean, after a couple of weeks, and it ain't even been 2 weeks since the surgery,
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Anything else from spring, man? What are you looking at that surprised you, man? You know what? One thing to me is all of these players love this offense. Every time they interview an offensive player, they go, "This offense is a dream offense. We're getting way more opportunities. There's a lot more action." I am a little surprised to hear them come out that strongly and love what they're running out there. I'm here for it, man.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wide receivers, man. It look like we look like we're gonna have a great wide receiver room this year.
Man, come on. Are you comfortable buying in? You're gonna get your heart broke, man. I gotta see it to believe
I'm
it.
buying in, man.
Oh,
I'm buying in, man.
Come on.
This is the offense that they needed.
Oh,
We always had good receivers, but we were so tight end heavy.
Man,
we would only deal with the tight end.
If you
now it's
listen,
time for the receivers.
If you want to put yourself out there like that, go for it. But man, you may need an extra beer or two this fall just to be able to balance this stress out. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be more. This offense, man, compared to the last offense, is more for the wide receivers, man. The last offense.
I agree with that.
The last 3 seasons, man, it's been like, man, you could only pass to the tight end.
Yeah. It was a bit predictable. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, you'll appreciate this then. Don't you, Mark with glasses? I just got here. Did I miss the Florida stories? No, you didn't, but you missed a whole lot of other stuff, Mark. There's been a lot going on in this show that's a little weird. And I don't know if it's good or bad. You may want to rewatch the first hour later this weekend because there's been a lot going on in the chat and I've yelled about a lot of things. So you might want to get caught up, but I'm happy to have you here, Mark. I love you. Man, what do you think of Love cross-training and they're getting him all these passes and all that? I take that as a sign that they're going to give their stars the ball and try and force that and let it happen. And I'm here for it, man. Any way to get those faster guys the ball, do it. I'm here for you. Go for it.
Love is our version of Reggie Bush, man. That's our version of Reggie Bush. And we got to use Love as much as possible, man. I mean, I seen Love when he was in high school. And I said, man, if he, and when Notre Dame was recruiting him hard, I said, man, I'm praying that this kid go to Notre Dame, man, because this is our Reggie Bush.
Yeah, it's man, it's great to hear that the plan is to stress a defense and put our guys in a position to make plays. There just hasn't been enough of finding creative ways to get our best guys the ball with a chance to make a play a success. It's all being built differently. And then flipping it over to the defensive side of the ball, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be disappointed if they are not really, really good. I don't think it's like the splashiest, flashiest group, but I just think they're going to keep you in ball games and play really good defense and be a top 10 unit, if not better. And that should be enough to win almost all the games, if not all on this schedule, as long as the offense acts like they're halfway put together. That's where I'm coming from right now.
Man, I'm willing to go on the limb and say, man, if Riley Leonard is healthy, I mean, I don't see a team on that schedule, but it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame finds ways.
Oh, they definitely do. But dude, we might be favored in every game, man. We legitimately could be favored in every single game this year, if not maybe one. Like Notre Dame has a real opportunity.
I don't see a team. They might be 2 touchdown favorites in damn near every game.
Whew, man, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen later in the year. I want to see what Florida State looks like. Who knows what USC's the last game? I don't know what they're going to look like. Like, I want to see it. But the schedule is way more favorable, man. The schedule is way more favorable than last year.
They lost way too much talent, man. Way too much.
Yeah.
And them lost a whole lot of talent as well, man. That's the reason why. I think A&M, because they're at home, they keep it close. But I think in the end that Notre Dame beat them by 10. Florida State, man, they just lost way too much talent, man. I don't see them really being a factor. Even in the ACC, I don't see them being a factor.
Yeah, they did lose a lot. It's going to be it's going to be really interesting. I believe there's going to be a lot on the line. I think that's November 9th. That should be a big weekend for Notre Dame football. If everything goes to plan, you're going to be in a really competitive position with Florida State coming to your place in early November. Like that, I have circled as a big moment. And if it isn't a big moment for Notre Dame, a lot of things have gone really, really poorly.
Yeah, I think the only hiccup is, man, on the schedule might be at USC. Notre Dame tends to beat the hell out of USC at home, and then they in Los Angeles, man, in LA, man. It's just something when they go out there to play USC. Even when Notre Dame was undefeated, what that was 2012, one of their toughest games of the season was at USC. So, I mean, even though USC wasn't that good then, but they still gave Notre Dame all fit.
And it's kind of tough too. Here's what I have trouble with. I have trouble looking too far ahead to USC when it's scheduled as the last game of the year on the every other year, because there's so much football to be played and injuries, and you don't know what's at stake when you get to the end of the year. Is one team checked out because they're done? There's just a lot there. So that's always interesting to me. Hey, are you still planning on coming to the tailgate or the Miami game?
Yeah, I'm trying to get that weekend off, man.
There you go. Look for the flags, man. We'll be in front of the stadium, but in front of that lady gate, and you'll see the flags, man, and you'll see us causing a ruckus.
If I can't get that weekend off, I'll let you know on Twitter. I couldn't get the weekend off.
Man, it would be fun though. I want to meet you. You're one of the loyal callers. I want to meet you. Anything on the way out, my friend?
Yeah, man. I'm looking at that schedule, man. 12-0, man. They shouldn't finish more than 12-0.
Here we go again, man. You're on the record. Here we go again.
But man, it is Notre Dame, man, and they seem to lose a head scratcher every year. Like, man, they beat everybody, and then they lose this game. That's like, how in the world did they lose this game?
Yeah. Yep, there's always a way, and you're always going to get everybody's best. That's the other thing. There's never a scenario where a team is going to overlook Notre Dame or not want to prove a point against them. You don't get anybody else sleepwalking against Notre Dame because it's always circled. Hey, man, work on trying to get that weekend off, and hopefully I'll see you in a couple weeks, okay?
All right, my man.
Have a good one, man. Enjoy your weekend. Hey, when's the Final Four and all that? Does anybody know? I'm not a college basketball guy. I'm just wondering, when is that this weekend? When is that Final Four? Friday, Saturday, couple games? What's the deal here? It's already Friday. I'm losing my mind. Rodney with the $2 holler. We need to create the Always Irish Summer Meetup. I gotta figure out the best place. That's the issue. And then the other thing is people want to do a golf event. And I want to do a golf event, like a charity golf scramble where we have Notre Dame vendors and the money for it goes to the Humane Society or the Ronald McDonald House charity for sick kids' families. The issue is not everybody golfs. And I don't want to build a golf event. And then there's a lot of people either aren't into golf or physically can't golf. And then that keeps the numbers down. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to make it a big golf only thing. Cause then are you excluding people? And then that location, man, maybe it has to be South Bend, because when people are there, they'll take it as a reason to also go to Notre Dame, go to campus, do all that fun stuff. So maybe maybe South Bend is the best answer for a summer thing, because people will want to do other things on campus. And then if they meet me and my stuff's boring and we're not fun, at least you're by campus. I don't know. I don't know, man. Mark with glasses says a ping pong event. I will bet anyone here any amount of money that you will not beat me, and we will record it live for content, and you can expose me and embarrass me on my own channel. I will bet anybody watching this money and I will win any amount. I'm 100% confident. Nobody here is going to beat me at ping pong. It ain't happening. You're just not as good. I'm confident in that. I will bet any amount of money, but it's got to be recorded because everybody needs the evidence. I want to do that over this summer. That's what I want to do. He said, Dr. John says, reserve the linebacker. Dude, that is, Dr. John, you're with me. One of the things I wanted to do is rent like the upper deck of one of these bars or something just for our group. And then it's just our group. And then we have our own place. And there's like a drink thing included. Like, I'm for real. Carberry, John Gump, you have no idea, man. I used to train for ping pong in college. The intramural championships I used to train. They had a ping pong table in the lobby and I'd sit there for hours and have people come by and try and play me. Hours and hours and hours I trained. Ask Rudy. And it would be every night, let's go train. And I need somebody else to hit me the ball and do this and do that. Practice my backhand, practice my spins. I did not ever want to lose a match. Didn't want to lose a match. James with the $5 holler. Good to hear from you, James. It's been a while. I think Louisville's our hardest game. A red team close to ND who beat ND last year in a day game, and we run out of water in the second quarter. Listen, this is true. He was a dork. Listen, I completely understand. Nobody thinks of like, wow, look at that awesome, like the coolest dude on campus, that alpha that's over there sweating in the lobby of the dorm playing ping pong. It's a little nerdy, but I don't care. If I'm doing something competitive, I don't want to ever lose it. And you ain't beating me. You ain't beating me. James, it's great to see you. That is for sure. Really appreciate it. And you are right. Listen, this Louisville thing, they got a lot coming back on that team. But it's going to be a totally different setup and build up. I've told you guys a million different times. Oh, Mark, come on, buddy. Don't do this to yourself, man. Don't do this to yourself, Mark. I'll have you sweating. You'll be running right and left. Be the best exercise you had in a year. I'll have you running ragged back and forth. I said this before. That Louisville thing, you knew it was a nightmare early in the week. Twitter told me it was a nightmare. You could feel the vibes. And I knew these guys are ready. And this is going to be the worst case scenario where everyone in Louisville's drunk. Not even in the stadium. Everybody in Louisville, everybody in the city is drunk and loud. And they don't like us. And they don't have a lot of class. And they're just going to go nuts and be ridiculous Louisville people all night. And that's what they did. Good for them, man. They were way better than us on that night. They got up to the level I begged Brian Kelly's teams to get to, and they never could. You following me? Like, I just, come on. John, if multiple people say Kenny has the best arm and is the fastest, why are we playing games entertaining these other QBs? Just develop them. That's a good question. That's Goolsby's question. Yeah, he always asks, why not Kenny? He's kind of fallen between the cracks a little bit. It feels like, I don't know. It's a little iffy. Yeah, the players would be up for Louisville. Dude, it was a perfect nightmare. It was their Super Bowl. They let you know they were approaching it as their Super Bowl, and we did nothing. We were not ready for the moment. We were not properly prepared for the moment. We didn't meet the moment. We didn't rise to the moment. We didn't rise in the moment. We didn't rise during the moment. We didn't do anything. Notre Dame looked like they did not want to play that night. And You could say, hey, look at that string of games they had to play, you know, and all the stress and games in a row against the teams. You were going to have a letdown. I understand why it might happen. It doesn't make it okay. I understand the reasons why we laid an egg. That doesn't make it okay. Does not make it okay. It was the Super Bowl and only one team got the invite, man. Louisville was awful. I was at the game. Oh, this is good. Louisville was awful. I was at the game. It was the worst stadium environment I've ever been on. Constant ads during the game. I'm a younger guy, but the music was too loud. I'm never going, oh, I like that, John. Turn down that Jumbotron. It sounds like you're at a Notre Dame home game. Turn down that Jumbotron. We didn't need that in 1948. We didn't need a Jumbotron to win. Why is my seat shaking? Oh my God. Johnny Action Parker was unbelievably bad as a play caller. Why are you giving him that much credit? It was way worse than that. You're being kind. You're being nice. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. God forbid. You know who managed to win a handful of titles and Heisman's without a Jumbotron? Frank Leahy. We didn't need a Jumbotron. We just needed great players and coaches. So why didn't Freeman have them ready? I believe number one is I think they took Louisville for granted. I think that was a big, big knock against this staff. I think they underestimated what Louisville was going to be, and that transferred over into the game. They were saying in practice that week, that they were already talking about rotating guys in offensive line and trying different guys early that week in practice. That sends this signal. We don't have to take these guys that seriously. We're already talking about our rotations, getting younger guys in and all that. They did not take Louisville that serious, and you got smacked in the mouth. You got punched in the face, and you had no answers. You had no answers. The look and fear in their eyes before coming out in the stadium. That was 17 Miami. That was the one to me that you knew it was over. You didn't even need to see any. You just had to see their Notre Dame players and coaches' eyes coming out into that loud environment with all those felons that show up to the Miami home games. You could see that one was over before it. So you could see it in Kelly's eyes. You knew those players were scared. It is the weakest mindset I've ever seen from a Notre Dame team. And it all comes from the leader, weak leadership. And it all came down and the game played out just like it. 19 similar, but 17 was fear. Like, I could see the fear of the environment more in 17 than 19 at the Big House. It was obvious, and it was very, very weak-minded. And I was totally distraught that Notre Dame football could be that weak-minded and get intimidated. And it 100% comes from your leadership, and that starts with your head coach. Renee Martinez. Why are you guys being so funny today? I'm sorry, Martinez. I didn't mean to offend you by bringing up the felons. I guess you're a felon on our side, so that's okay. The felons on our side are good people deep down who just made a mistake. The felons in the Miami side, we need to lock them up. Thank you. I'm not going to lump all felons in the same The same felon thing here. Somebody said Michigan was their Pearl Harbor. I got to tell you, I had a mental breakdown. That night. It was a bad night. Those are the two. 17 Miami, 19 Michigan. I literally lost my voice after those, just punching the. You know what my biggest image is from night? We'll get back to the call. You know what my vision is from that Michigan game? There was the play where we were already getting killed, road grinded out, and one of their offensive linemen blocked one of our defenders 15 yards off the field, up into the back of the stands, whatever. Absolutely road graded our guy 12 yards beyond the line, just kept running and just bulldozed the guy. It represented everything that night so beautifully. So pathetic. Somebody brought up Ohio State, but wait, Mark, I think it was you. Mark, here's the difference. The Ohio State thing was super painful, but that kind of ending is different than totally getting blown out, not being competitive. Those are different kinds of pain that have you in different places, right? It hurt the end of the Ohio State game, but nobody could get on Twitter and go, you weren't even competitive, you got blown out, and it, you got killed. Nobody could say that. That's different than getting crushed in the big house. And you want to be, I've heard this. Oh, yeah, the weather threw them off. Yeah, I know, because we have great weather in Indiana all the time. There's never any cold rain in Indiana. Are you out of your mind? Sorry about that. Sorry. Got a little worked up. All right. Check out my advertiser here, Paisley, and then we'll be right back and we'll take some more calls and we'll see what we got cracking. In today's fast-paced digital age, seamless and secure transactions for your business aren't a luxury. They're an absolute necessity. That's where your friends at Paisley step in. Paisley's in the business of making your business run smoother, not just as a payment processor, but as a true partner in your success and growth. Paisley's platform is intuitive, the fees are transparent, security ironclad, processing instant, and the support team is unmatched. If you're looking to take your business to the next level anywhere in the United States, call one of the all-stars of Always Irish Radio, Chicago's very own Tom Frawley at 773-332-7742 or email him, tom@paisleypartners.com for a personalized payment processing consultation addressing your unique business needs. And be sure to tell him Always Irish sent you. Oh, boy. All right. People want Florida stories. Here's the problem. I got a bunch of callers on a Friday. Can I go live Saturday night and do it then? Or is everybody watching basketball and they don't want to do it? Or what? Andrew, are you talking about Tom Frawley? Having some medical stuff. In and out as he needs it. Been living in Northwestern. Like my man's got, he's fighting it. So I think he's kind of in and out based on that. Saturday night, I don't want to go Saturday night, but everybody's on the March Madness and nobody watches it, and then I'm wasting my time and your time. Yeah, God bless Tom Frawley, man. It's been like over a month that we've been living in Northwestern and trying to get out of there and everything. So God bless him. He's my main man. Drop the Florida stories in a video. Yeah, but then it gets no numbers in the algorithm because it's not football. I got to think about that. How you title it, like it all comes together. Yeah, Tom's a good guy, man. He's been fighting it for really over a month. And so I hope he's out and free. All right, let's go through some more of these calls. I don't know why it's popping on a Friday. I want to get as many in as I can, so get to your points. I didn't expect this to be a busy morning, but let's roll. 347, what's going on? It's been a while.
John, what's up, bud? Yes, it has been a while, and it's popping because it's April. We're 2 weeks away, and let's go Irish.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, I was excited to see your number on here because I like in the season when you call and break down your thoughts. I would love to know, it's been the beginning of the year. We spoke early January. I would love to know where your mind's at here. What do you think about spring ball, how things are setting up, like wherever you want to go? I'm happy to visit with you.
Yeah, that's rock and roll, man. So let's start with the QBs. It's unfortunate we had the situation with Riley Leonard, but the QB room is pretty stacked, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal if he's not the starting quarterback, because I really don't think there'll be much of a drop-off. I think competition breeds success, and next man up, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Okay, let me ask this. Like, you're talking about maybe not a big drop off or whatever. How do you account for, it feels like Riley Leonard's legs are a much more of the game plan when he is the one taking the ball than like with Angeli. Is that a consideration to you at all about like how you might have to pare that offense down or change it from one to the other? I don't know.
It is, I have mixed feelings about it. I understand his legs are his ultimate weapon, but, I do listen to your show, and it seems to be that we're very optimistic about the wide receiver room. And if we're optimistic about the wide receiver room, we probably should lean more toward the pocket passer. And I don't know that that's not Riley Leonard's strength. I look at him like an asset. He's an athlete. The more variables and talent somebody brings to the table, the better. But if we really have that much of an upgrade in the wide receiver room, I want to give them the ball. I don't want to make the quarterback a focal point in the running game. And look, we have all those talented running backs. Anything that would deter from utilizing their services, that might not be the greatest thing. So I'm all about best man for the job. I'm glad they used the NIL. I'm glad they brought him in. I think it could only help us. And I think the NIL combined with recruiting will be the ultimate equalizer for MD.
Yeah, here's what I think. I think Denbrock loves that quarterback mobility. That is like his sweet spot. He loved working with Jaden Daniels at LSU because if nobody was open, he could drop that ball and just run and get a first down. That's like, in a perfect world, that's who Denbrock wants to work with. That's why he's very excited looking down the road to Deuce Knight too, because Deuce is that kind of guy. Like, I just feel like that is what Denbrock wants to work with. And I don't need you to overdo it. Riley Leonard's got an injury history now. I don't need you to over-rely on that. But in a few games of the year, I think you're going to have to rely on Riley Leonard's legs more than you do the other games. The other ones, don't take those risks. But I think there's a few of these games you're going to want to spread people out with his legs.
I'm with it. I like it. I trust Denbrock. I'm really happy Freeman picked him up. The coaching is definitely much improved.
Isn't it though? And, hey, I want to ask you this. We haven't talked since this happened. How good do you feel having these two coordinators, one on offense and one on defense, that have a ton of experience, high-level skins on the wall, and they have low ego? They're there to support Marcus. This is how you support a young coach. What do you think?
I don't think we could have asked for a better situation.
Yeah.
I was elated when it happened. I love the fact that he left LSU and came back, left Kelly and came back. That says a lot about his character.
Yeah.
He's a Notre Dame guy. That's exactly what we need. We want people that want to be there, and he seems to be the guy. I trust his judgment, but I do listen to you and Goolsby a lot, and Goolsby is very high on Minchie. So if it doesn't work out with Leonard, well, I think we're going to be okay. Listen, the more the merrier, right? The more talent, the more likely we are to succeed. So, best man win the job, and we'll be good to go.
A really good point I've been saying about those quarterbacks. the more of them you have in the room that you feel good about, it's a good problem to have. And if somebody needs to transfer down the road or whatever, that is the realities of the modern game and how rosters are built. But you're giving yourself more spins at the wheel to have one of those guys click and hit and be great for you and all of that. Notre Dame's building a much, much more secure quarterback room this year. Then you add Deuce to it. Then they're looking to get a high-level guy for 26. Like, they're starting to build something there that I think is going to really help Notre Dame turn a corner. And if it doesn't, we have real issues, because that's been a big one, and it seems like they're starting to figure it out.
Yes. And, what I actually like in particular about this QB room currently, and it seems to be, it's going to be this way going forward, is that we kind of have like a hybrid thing going on where we have, a pair of pocket passers, and then we have a pair of guys that can scramble out of the pocket. So if it's not working one way, we'll always have the option to go the other. So I'm an open book. I just, I want to see them win.
Yeah.
And I think having a variety of talent at that position is probably the best way going forward.
Yeah, and then here's the other thing. I get a little pushback sometimes from the Notre Dame people that say, John, you're talking about wanting to throw it around more and all that. We need to be a run-first team, and that's in our DNA. My response to that concern, which I could see being a legitimate one from Notre Dame fans, my response to it is, having a passing game that could be a threat doesn't hurt the run game. It helps it. It opens things up. It loosens that defense up. It makes them not all be able to crash the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to play you more honest. And when you got J.D. Price or Love or one of these guys, all they need is one block and one crease, and it might be 7 points. I think that run game will benefit a lot if the passing game is able to keep people more fair back there.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, any of these guys can do it. And, I'm grateful we have this loaded QB room. We haven't had this before in the recent past. And, the more options, the better. Yeah, I mean, any four of them can do it. If it's going to be Leonard, it's going to be Leonard. That's fine. I'm glad they're very proactive with NIL. I know you're very much of the perspective that, we want a homegrown guy. We can have both. May the best man win. Have an open mind. We're doing it with the wide receiver room as well. We brought in a couple new guys, the kid from Clemson, the kid from Florida. I'd like to see what they can do.
Hey, listen, man. Micah Gilbert's getting he's like the receiver being talked about all spring. Is that a good thing, or should it be another guy that we've been hearing more about? But every time I see a highlight, it's him jumping up and making a great grab.
I'm all right with positive surprises. Yeah. I'm with it. That's fine. Every year or so, or every 2 years or so, we have a guy that pops up and even the lacrosse player last year, he was a pleasant surprise. Listen, whoever's getting the job done is getting the job done. I'm with it. I forget the guy that just left. He was like the number 80 overall recruit. We put a lot of stock in him. It ended up being an epic fail. You just don't know how these seasons are going to go. They're full of surprises. So, look, I trust the coaching. I trust Freeman. I trust his judgment. I like the style of recruiting. I see he's recruiting different. He's recruiting athletes as opposed to chasing stars. I'm glad he's an open book. I think we need to have that perspective and not be so locked in on 4 and 5 stars. Yeah. Although that is good to get too, but I don't think the stars entirely define the players and the skill set.
Yeah, and then switch over to the defensive side of the ball. I have a very, very high standard for this group. I just think they should be really, really tough, very consistent. Do I have some concerns about, are we going to get enough pass rush off the edge in the biggest games against the best teams when you need it? Like that high level stuff. But week in, out, snap in, snap out, series in, series out. I expect this group to be really, really tough. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I'll add to that. Last year, going into the season, we thought the defensive line was going to be a concern. We actually thought the defense was going to be a little bit of a liability, and it turned out to be our strength. Now that this guy's, I think it's his second or third year in the program, they're only going to get better. They were a top 10 defense last year. I'd imagine they'd only get better. And even if they've hit their ceiling, I'm very content with where they were last year. I think if we perform at that level this year on defense, with the offense improving, with the schedule being, I think, in my opinion, much lighter than last year. I mean, I know there'll be surprises, but I can't see anything less than 10-2 being the floor. I can't. My concern is the first game and the last game. Louisville, I know you were talking about that on your show a little while ago. I think we underestimated them last year.
For sure.
We went to their place.
As a program. I'm talking as an entire program, coaching down to the players. It was clear to me we underestimated them. It was a huge mistake, and everybody needs to learn from that humiliation.
Louisville is a C-plus college football program that overachieved last year. And I think as long as Notre Dame plays their B-plus game consistently throughout this year, there should be nothing less than 10-2 and a playoff win. Look, there's two teams, in my opinion, that right now seem to be possibly untouchable, and that's Georgia and Ohio State. I think Notre Dame on a neutral field is capable of beating anyone else. I think we have the talent to do it. I believe we have the coaching to do it. Why not?
Interesting. Man, I love touching base with you, catching your, and you know what else? You're getting a lot of credit on that accent, man. I've seen some chats. People like it. I like it, baby. I like it. It clashes with mine a little bit in all the best ways. I like that, man. Anything else? I really appreciate your call on a Friday. Anything else on your mind?
No, that's it, man. I love the show, John, and I look forward to keeping in touch, bro.
Hey, thank you very much. Are you going to be able to make it to the Blue and Gold game or the Miami, Ohio next year?
So I am from New York, and I am quite busy with work. I'm not going to be able to make the Blue and Gold game, but I think you're doing the Miami of Ohio game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. And so everybody's invited. So if you want to look for a trip, that may be a good weekend. The tickets will be cheap. The weather will be warm. The beer will be cold. That's my guarantee. Okay.
Look forward to crushing some Miller Lights with you, bud.
There you go, man. I appreciate it. Have a really good weekend. Thanks for touching base, man. I miss your calls. Good caller. Thank you. Oh, man. I don't know what the deal is today. The phone lines are popping. Half of these days I'm sitting here like, is anybody else going to call? I don't know what it is. Is it because it's Friday or what? Chief Brody. This should cover my nonsense for the week. And it's like, Chief, that's funny. It's like you're taxing your own personality. I don't know why that just comes off funny to be like, all right, how annoying, how much am I going to troll this week? How annoying am I going to be? All right, I guess it's $5 worth. Oh, Domer Guy 88. Good to see you as well. You doing after hours tonight? I'm going to do it tomorrow. I will go live tomorrow night. Make that official. 8:00 tomorrow night. We will go live and we'll do a night show. Yeah. So we will do that. You guys, I've done some Friday night shows. Not in the season, off season. I've done some Friday nights and Saturday nights. The Saturday nights do better numbers every single time. I don't know if it's something about Friday. People have family things or they have to work that day. So they're not, I don't know what it is. But I've just noticed all the Saturday shows do great numbers and the Friday ones drag ass. So we'll go Saturday tomorrow night. $10 olive from Martinez. Here you go, Johnny. You're my boy, Blue. I am, but I got to tell you, I'm not letting you get another felony at my tailgate. So we got to keep it all together. Pat's back. Are you back from Arizona or what? The vibe isn't right. You're right, Pat. I think it's just because everybody's been at work all week and they're dragging butt at the end of the work week. And then that night they're like exhausted. I think it's something like that. I do, because all those Saturday ones do way better and people are in a way better mood and there's more callers and more engagement. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is. 309, you're on the line. Rodney, I got you next. What's going on, 309?
Hey, how we doing? Happy Friday.
Happy to be here. Happy to have you with me. You're another one that I haven't spoken to in a while. Let's catch up, man. It looks like it was before the new year. Before the new year was the last time. I would love to know where you're at with spring ball, the quarterbacks, the schedule this year. I love touching base with people after it's been a while. Let me have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wanted to touch on two things we've already kind of been talking about today on the show, which is quarterbacks and defense. But I'll start with the defense. I mean, I also have really high expectations for the defense this year. I mean, you take a look at the schedule, and we have an elite defense, veteran D-line, especially at D-tackle. And you look at this schedule, there's not a single elite offense that we face all year. You could make an argument there's not a single great offense that this team is going to face all year. So I'm super confident about this defense.
Man, that's a good point. Golden. That's such a good point. I mean, like even if you feel great about your defense, but if you run up against a legitimate offense, you're going to have issues. I kind of agree with you when you look from what you know about these teams, when you look it up and down, who's the one that really scares you? It ain't USC without Caleb, right? Like that's the things that I think of.
Nope. I'm not. I mean, you're not scared of any. That's the thing is you look at the schedule, you're not scared. You're not worried about a single offense you're going up against. And that's even if you had just like a run-of-the-mill decent defense. But this is supposed to be an elite defense. Come on. We have the returning defensive player of the year, Nagurski winner with Xavier Watts in the back. Hopefully Benjamin Morrison, can come back. And obviously that was a big setback. But when you get somebody like Riley Mills and Howard Cross back, you know that you have those anchors up front. I mean, this defense is going to be stout. I mean, good luck trying to score against this defense.
Yeah, they should be really good. You know, the way I've been I don't know how often you're able to touch base because, I know you're busy and come in and out. I've been talking about this defense, like finding the cherries on top. Like they're really, really solid. How do you squeeze every last drop of additional production out of it? Like finding niche roles for certain guys to play in a certain package at a certain point on the field, in third and medium or whatever. Like they have the basics covered enough that I think they can afford the luxury to think about how to crank this thing up to the next level. The offense isn't there yet. They have way too much ground to make up. But that defense is in the place where they can really crank it up. I believe that.
Mm-hmm. I do too. I mean, the only thing I really wish, kind of would have developed by now is Jalen Sneed, right? Like it's so rare to get a 5-star talent. So when you do get one, they have to hit. But he just seems like such a tweener that it's like, okay, is he a pass rusher? Is he this? He's that. He's not playing the nickel.
Yeah.
He's not quite as good in coverage as like a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So it's like, what's he going to do? We got to find the right niche for him this year. But he could be that special piece.
Yeah, man, it is. It's going to be interesting. And on the defense, you think you know what you have, and you're looking to go up another level. That offense, I'm wondering how different. We hear that it's different in the players, it's more exciting, whatever. I'm genuinely wondering when we turn on and watch these first couple games, are you gonna look to the person in your living room and go, oh man, that's different and I'm here for it? Like, how obvious is it gonna be that Notre Dame's approaching offensive football in a more modern way? I hope it's obvious. I'm ready for that. Notre Dame's been dragging in that area, and I need them to knock it up a notch.
Yeah, same. The only thing that I wanted to ask you about the quarterback room is, I mean, everything is so different with the NIL era, the transfer portal era, all this stuff. I mean, when you start looking at a couple years down the road, Leonard in this year. I mean, what's the best case scenario here? Is it CJ Carr starts for 2 years and then Deuce Knight steps in? I mean, who knows if a quarterback is willing to wait 2-3 years behind a guy like CJ Carr?
I think what you're looking at is after Leonard, who's going to win that? They don't want to go back to the portal again. right? Like they want this
Right.
to be the last time. So then if everybody stays, then you're looking at a race next year. And then whoever wins that, do they get that job for a year or two until Deuce is ready? And then there's a battle back that way. That's how I might see it going.
Yeah. I think in my mind, ideal scenario would be obviously, Leonard does great this year. CJ wins the battle next year, starts for 2 years, and then Deuce takes the reins. That would be, in my mind, the best case scenario.
Yeah, that is one of the potential tracks that I've seen as well. And it's like, and then with Deuce, he is going to be the most athletic quarterback we've had in a very, very long time, but he is raw. He is not a finished product. There's going to be a learning curve. But the upside of him physically is something we have not seen in that position. I mean, he has the athleticism of 17 Drew Pines woven into one. Like, I don't know how else. I'm not being rude. I don't know how else to tell people.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get it through people's minds, the different level of athlete that guy is than what we've had running around here. It ain't even close.
Right. Yeah. I'm excited though. I'm excited. This defense in this schedule. I'm not worried about 2024 at all. When you have an elite defense and then nothing to worry about on the other side of the ball so far. But hey, got to get going. Love the show. Have a great weekend. Good to catch up again, buddy.
Really appreciate the call, man. Good touch and base. Have a good one.
Yep. You too.
Is everybody off work on Friday? Is this, I don't think Deuce sticks. If Deuce doesn't stick, I would be very surprised and heartbroken. Everything, Domer guy, everything I'm told behind the scenes is that he looks at Freeman as a father figure. He's totally bought into all this. He loves Notre Dame. I'm told the mom loves Notre Dame. The mom trusts Marcus Freeman to take care of her son in a different state, way up north. He's recruiting other guys on Twitter every day. I have seen no indication whatsoever that you're going to lose this guy. Now, anything could happen. I ain't that dumb. Lane Kiffin's knocking on his door. Lane Kiffin's knocking on his door every day with an exciting offense, a bunch of ladies, and a fat NIL. So I'm just saying, hey, if something happens, I can't say it surprises me, but all of the indicators that I typically look for say Notre Dame guy. I'm not hearing the stuff I heard about Scott, the D lineman. Oh, he has a big entourage. Oh, he's impressionable. He's got a big group of people around him that may not have his best interest in heart. All of those are Notre Dame red flags. Scott was Notre Dame red flag, Notre Dame red flag, Notre Dame red flag. Every single thing you heard behind the scenes about Scott, red flag. Like, not a Notre Dame match, just the entourage, impressionable, immature, blows with whatever way the winds blow it. Like, no, those are all red flags. This kid's the opposite. Oh, boy. Rodney, what's going on? I got a 703-773-859. We'll see what our timing's like. What's going on, 818?
Hey, John, what's up, buddy? Good show today.
This is, Rodney, there's a lot of energy. I don't know what it is today, but I feel like this show's got more juice, and I'm here for the squeeze.
Yeah, I don't go in until 2, so I was able to, be a part of this morning. Usually I'm not on a Friday morning, but man, can I get right into it? Because I want to give the other two callers a chance. I don't want to take all the time.
Sure.
Dude, can you imagine the movie poster, Always Irish Tailgate, where the tickets are cheap, the weather is warm, and the beer is cold, and everybody's hoisting John on their shoulders. He's like, giving a fist bump to the sky.
Yeah, I like this. I like the way this is shaping up a lot.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, man, on a serious note, I know Pat kind of came into the chat late, but dare I say he's down for that? I mean, where's his lake, by the way?
Dude,
I mean, what lake is it?
I believe it's like a half hour heading like back north on the toll road away from South Bend, like towards Chicago, somewhere off that toll road, like 20 or 30 minutes, towards the Chicago way. is what we're talking about.
I mean, I'm not trying to,
Pat's
God
going.
bless
Pat's
him,
going.
but
What are we?
That would be amazing.
What are we down for, Pat? I'll tell you what you're down for. We're taking over your family's cabin and we're partying. That's what we're doing.
Dude, I will throw money at it, whatever he wants, help. That sounds like a blast. And I don't even think, John, I didn't know Pat lived on a lake. And I'm thinking, wow, a lake would be great, like a lake meetup somewhere halfway between here and Chicago, from South in Chicago, or whatever. Anyway, whatever, man. I'm just saying that would be awesome.
It really would be. That'd be fun. I mean, I want to do something in the summer. It would be really fun. It's just hard to get people to schedule.
Come on, Pat. Come on.
It's hard to get people to schedule.
Cotter's Cottage.
You know how it is, man. It's summer and everybody has a different vacation. And when can more people make it? We might just have to pick a weekend and then people do it if you want to do it.
I will be there with proverbial bells on, man.
There you go.
It's been so long since I've been to a lake house and hung out with. I mean, that would be amazing. Anyway, come on, Pat, make it happen, buddy. I'll help you out.
D-Rock says claim squatter rights. Apparently, that's a thing now. The news tells me that's a thing where you can not own a property and then move in and then not move out and act like you own it. I am completely confused by the entire theory behind squatters' rights.
I'm into Pat's house. I'm claiming his house.
It's so funny though. But dude, nothing about that law makes sense to me that you could just move in a place you don't own and when the owner comes, not let them in. Like, is this America or what?
Yeah, that just goes to show what direction our country is going in, man.
Sorry,
like
man.
Everything up is down, everything right is left.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but it's wild to me that somebody who doesn't own your place can move into your place and you don't have the power to immediately remove them. I don't understand. That makes no logical sense. Anyways, Rodney,
I agree.
What is on your mind with football, man? Are you surprised Riley Leonard's back? Riley Leonard's back on a scooter throwing the ball around. What the hell's going on?
I think, honestly, John, I think the Riley Leonard thing's a little overblown. I'm so excited about this quarterback room, man. I got nothing negative about that whole situation. Okay, he's hurt. He's got a second surgery probably because my guess is it's more of a, like, let's get in front of this thing so we're not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think the second surgery is that big of a deal. I didn't hear all the details, don't get me wrong, but I think it's more of let's really make sure we got this thing nipped in the bud by fall. I'm looking forward to that competition. John, I'm going to say one thing and then I'll let you go. I'm going to bring up a scenario for you. I like to do these things with you once in a while. When Freeman got hired, I said, I think what's going to happen with Freeman is he's going to get better and better and better, but the improvement won't be as fast as everybody wants it because we've all been so starved for us to take that big jump that we don't understand. When we lost Brian Kelly, there is going to be a step back, or half a step back, which I think has happened. And now we're moving back in that direction again. So let me throw this at you. Let's say this. Okay, so first year 9-4, won a bowl game. Second year 10-3, won a bowl game. What if next year they barely end up in the playoffs, like 11th or 12th? They lose their first game. They lose their first playoff game. No one's going to be happy with that. But Arizona, is Freeman really getting us better? Well, yeah. If you look at where they finished the year before and the year before that, yeah, he's getting better. Let's say next year they get into that top 8, and they host a home game and they win that game. Okay. But then they lose the next one. Okay. Then the next year after that, they get into they go as far as 4 teams, but they lose that one. The year after that, they get to the national title game, but they lose that one. And then by year 7 or 8 of the Freeman era, he wins his national title. Which kind of sort of almost like the Harbaugh timeline. I'm just saying, if that scenario played true, where they just got a little bit better every year, but not as improved as everybody was. Are you cool with that? I mean, of course you are. If a national title is at the end of it, but I'm just saying. Well, listen, can we have the patience for that?
People are still going to want.
Because I kind of see that's what's going to happen, John. I get this weird feeling that that's what's going to happen.
Rodney,
keep getting a little better every year.
It's a really good point. Here's my reaction. we're always going to want more progress, more measurable progress, and quicker. We're always going to want to get to the top of the hill as quickly as possible. But I think if you're being honest with yourself, if you see that improvement and it's trending up in the right direction every year, it's really hard to be that mad with it, unless the starting point is 5 and 7 and the years are 6 and 6. And then, it can't be starting at that low. But if it's reasonable,
but we started at 9 and 4. That was the low water mark.
If you go up from there, dude,
I'm just saying,
if you go up from there, it's linear progress up. And then as long as the recruiting follows that trend line, that it goes up, you would want that to track with the wins as they ramp up, to have that recruiting efficiency go up too. As long as you have those arrows pointing up, I always talk about measuring the breeze, taking the temperature. What are our arrows pointing? You would be pointing up.
I just think that's where it's going, man. I'm not saying it's always going to be linear like that, where it's like, oh, next year we're one, but I'm saying where the program is constantly moving in the right direction, pointing up, but, it's just not quite as fast as everybody wants it. But when you get to the top 10 teams, top 10 programs, it's not going to be as meteoric of a rise, because you're already up in that echelon. That's what I see Freeman's tenure being. I think it's just going to keep getting a little better every year. And where it's at right now, we're in a very stable spot, obviously. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you go with that. It just got me thinking when the guy said, what's a failure? To me, a failure is if we don't make the playoffs this year. That's a failure.
Yeah.
It's not a failure if you don't win a national title, because then every team's a failure except for the team that wins it. I don't buy that. Failure is based on where you're at, what you can accomplish, and then, what you actually accomplish. So to me, anyway, I'll let you go with that. Potter, make this happen, buddy. Let's do this summer thing.
There you go.
Have a great day, John.
Beautiful. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep, for sure.
What is Pat talking about? What are we doing? Oh, boy. You never know what you're going to get around here. 707 and then 703. What's going on, 707? Been a while for you, too. Today's the day all the old callers are coming back. What's changed?
Nothing's changed, John. I just don't want to hog your line. Don't want other people to be able to call in. So I figure, I'm going to sit back and wait a while.
I appreciate, anyway. The reality, man, is in the off season, we don't have full call banks like after a game in the fall where there's like people on a hold waiting. Like it's usually not like that. I like it today. I'm about this action. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm always listening, so I'll call in more during the off season.
Beautiful.
I have a couple things, but main thing I wanted to explain to you real quick. You said you don't understand squatters' rights, so I'll explain it to you because nobody's doing it in the news. Everybody seems confused by it.
Yeah, I know I am.
Yeah. So, and it makes sense because nobody's explaining it. Squatters' rights is based on what it is meant to prevent. Is having an ownership class based in Dubai or Switzerland or New York City who buy up all the properties and then let them sit fallow because they're just an investment or a tax write-off or this or that. And so if land if there's no squatters' rights, you would see what you see in New York City retail space where half of the stores are empty. And that was before COVID. Because they're being held for financial reasons, but they're not being used. So imagine if you drove around South Bend and half of the houses were empty because they're owned by somebody somewhere else, and they just sit there because they're using them as a tax write-off. And so it's meant to prevent land from all being bought up by the rich and being left to rot while nobody can farm, nobody can build houses.
Okay, fine. But when the rightful owner shows up, then isn't it time to go bye-bye right away then?
Well, so no, but here's the thing. Here's what's changed in the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's a part of a lot of other stuff going on culturally and everything. What traditionally squatters' rights is, move into a house that's empty and you have you have to receive mail and make improvements to the house. And if they show up, before that time is up, before that 5 or 7 years is up, then you have to leave. Different states have different rules. California, once you establish residency in California, you can't just be immediately kicked out. It takes like 6 months worth of court paperwork to kick someone out if they're a resident. That's a problem with California law. But in most states, what it is you have to be there. They have to not remove you for 5 to 7 years while you're receiving mail. And if in 5 to 7 years they don't show up and kick you out, you can go to the government office and you basically get it for free. But again, it's 5 to 7 years. You have to do all upkeep and receive mail. But the new stuff where someone moves in and they're there for a week trashing the place and then the owner can't kick them out, that is a fundamental flaw of what is going on in California, New York, a couple other places. But that's generally not what squatters' rights is. Squatters' rights is a long process, and they can kick you out unless you just abandon the property for 5 to 7 years, because we don't want empty lots everywhere and fallow land because the rich are just using it as a financial instrument. So that's what squatters' rights is.
Man.
What you're seeing now where
That's
people
rough.
are there for a week and won't leave, that's not squatters' rights. That's theft. But 5 to 7 years, you want squatters' rights. You just want it to be done properly as it's been done. The squatters' rights have existed for 50, 100, 150 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. But it's got to be applied appropriately.
Man.
So that's squatters' rights.
That's rough. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around all of the inner workings of that. Any football for me? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about our new quarterback and his injuries. Mostly because
Well, I think that's pretty fair because he's been here 2 months and has 2 surgeries and a scooter. So I think it's pretty fair to be nervous.
And he's supposed to be a runner.
Yeah,
And,
that's the other part too. Yeah.
I don't care how tough you are. If you got a bum ankle and you got 300-pound dudes falling on you every 5 seconds, that's going to be interesting. I'm curious as how long he's, at what point is he going to be injured? Maybe it's not career ending, but or even season ending. But at some point, that guy's getting injured. I mean, if he's running every play, there's no way in heck he's running every other play and going through the season without an injury. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Minchie at the spring game, hoping he looks good and hoping those guys are ready to go, because one of them is going to get some playing time this year, I think. And I think it's going to be okay. I think we've got a favorable enough schedule to where for most of our games, I think Angeli or Minchie could come in and win the game for us. So I'm not, concerned that much about it, but I do think there's going to be an issue at some point with Leonard.
I think
with injuries.
I think here's what I want. He should not need to run a lot to beat 9 or 10 of the teams on our schedule. I would like to see that pared down to a minimum and him do more distributing until we're in those games where you really need to ramp it up. And then hopefully that will minimize his exposure to getting all knocked around. But if you tell me you have anxiety, I think it's totally fair because we're averaging a surgery a month here. All right. We're not even into games. It's a fair concern.
Yeah. But otherwise, I continue to be impressed by Coach Freeman and the rest of the staff. We're on an upward trajectory. I have no long-term qualms about Notre Dame. I'm a little concerned about the health of college football in general. I think that what they're doing with the super conference and everything. I'm afraid that it's going to lower interest overall nationwide. I think the teams that are going to be involved, the big programs, are still going to. Everybody, it might be more interesting. It might be more people from Georgia and South Bend and everything watching the games. But I think that it will cause a problem at some point where you're going to have less interest. If you're a kid growing up in Nebraska, are you going to be as interested in football? Or if you want to go to SMU or something, are you going to want to go and play Division III or not have a chance to even play in a championship? I think it's just going to lower interest overall. But Notre Dame's looking great. I'm so impressed by the coach, and even the university seems to have turned a corner and is being more supportive of the program in general, which is great. I didn't always feel like that was.
Hey, you know what else? You know me. You know that's always a big deal to me. It's something I've complained about forever. In that vein, do you have any reaction? Have you seen what Pipa Vacqua's been saying on his little media tour now that he's the main guy? Everything he's saying is music to my ears. I realize words are words, but that guy seems to come off in a way that tells me he gets it.
I was not a happy camper when he was hired. And to me, it was just,
hiring the TV guy. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, making it all about money and everything. But as time has gone on, I feel more comfortable with him, and I think I'm hoping that things are that they appear, and that he's a highly quality guy who cares about the program. So I feel better about even his hire than I did when it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what he said, though.
He was saying every year Notre Dame doesn't win a title, it rips at my soul. He's talking about like football's Notre Dame's DNA. Like he's just saying a lot of things that comfort the fans, where in a way where you never really knew exactly where Jack stood on everything. This guy seems to be very direct. So far, so good.
Good. I honestly, this is the best I've seen the program health in general since Lou. I was young when we won the championship. I was following the program, but obviously not anything like I do now. I was a young kid, pre-internet. So I was reading in the newspapers and watching Sports Center, but I think everything's looking up at Notre Dame. I'm excited.
And it's a big year. You have all the year 3 stuff. You have the new playoff. You have all of this. It's got to be a big year. Notre Dame's got to be successful. It all lines up. We got to have a good result. So I don't know, man. I'm excited to see what this looks like for blue and gold. And then I can't wait to get to August. Anything else, my friend?
No, that's it, John. Thanks for your time and a great show. Appreciate you.
Really appreciate it. Have a good weekend, man. Mark. Squatters' rights is my right. Dude, I have no idea why. This show has been one of the most fun shows I've had in like a year doing this. I have no idea why. Oh my gosh. Oh, all right. I hate to do this because we actually have a bunch of callers. I got to get going. I have an appointment. I have somewhere I need to go. I'm not used to having that big of a bank of callers on a Friday morning, so I'm sorry I couldn't get through all the calls. I did none of the Florida stories. I addressed none of the main topic of going over my surprises for the spring. We didn't do any of that. Gives me something for Saturday night, though. We're going to do Saturday night call-in, and then we'll go over all this stuff. Listen, I don't know what happened today, but it was really entertaining. A lot of callers, a lot of engagement, super chats out the wazoo. I appreciate you guys. Everybody must be in a good mood on a Friday. I really appreciate it. And then we'll go live Saturday night at 8, crack a couple lids, and get into it. This was a really fun show. I appreciate it. And Martinez, no more felonies. I don't want to have to bail you out with my super chat money. Everybody be good. I'll see you tomorrow night. Hopefully we have this same energy. It's beautiful. Have a good one.